So you've been ordered to show cause. Or you've been ordered to appear at this show cause hearing. It's been now moved to July 3rd. Tell me what you've basically been ordered to do.
I've been ordered to come and show why I should not be held in contempt. I'm not too sure
That's crazy.
What the contempt is.
Lil Woody just posted a cryptic post on IG, on his IG story, talking about what's going on in the YSL trial. Now, as y'all know, he is a sworn witness, so this man talking about the trial is just moving reckless in general. But it's seeming like Lil Woody has had enough. Y'all check this out. Shout out to, again, Thugger Daily for posting this at Woody via IG. He's an innocent man. Now come lock me back up. I ain't scared. Look at this. Lil Woody. And if y'all want to follow him, it's Woody versus Woody. That's WOODY VS WOODY. All right. He says he is an innocent man in real life. The demons have been on me at certain times of my life, have full control. It took years to break free of those demons, and now my conscience is eating me up. This prosecution is doing a number on our guy Lil Woody, man. I'm not allowed to talk, but I pray to God that they pray and trust in him, that he reveals everything that's going on. Every single person that steps in the building have been violated, and they show us time after time that they ruin everything. I lost my family members, my kids, and at the point of losing my sanity. Oh my God, what's going on, man? He says, this is not freedom. This is a country that bullies others to comply. This is a country that takes what they want. And this is a country that will not stop until they get away, or until they get what they want. He says, now come lock me back up. I ain't scared. This is, I say it's cryptic. It's not even cryptic. The only thing that's cryptic about it is he's not saying what they're making him do. But we already know, based on the secret meeting, that Judge Glanville and ADA Hilton and possibly ADA Love were in there telling them, hey, man, you can't say what you want to say. You can't do what you want to do. As Lil Woody said, this is not freedom. You have immunity, but it's only based off of what we say. And man, I can't imagine what this must be like being in this situation. Now, of course, Lil Woody, he is in this situation willingly, kind of. So y'all feel bad for him if you want to, but at the end of the day, he is a person. We all make mistakes, and going through this whole thing where you have the law that you're supposed to be able to look to and trust, and then seeing the things that he's seen that we don't even probably know about is crazy. Now, the reason I bring this up is because most recently his ex-lawyer, or his ex-attorney, Caleb Bumpus, did another interview with Law and Order that we're going to look at here in a second. And we can kind of get a little more insight into what went on in the secret meeting. Now, we've talked about this before, but this is the first interview I've seen from her since she found out that her hearing was going to be pushed to July 3rd. So shout out to Law and Crime for posting this video and doing a great job with the interview. Y'all listen to what Kayla says, because I mentioned in the last video that we did, I found it interesting that she did not say that she wasn't the mole. So check this out. You guys let me know what you think.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, Caleb Bumpus could be held in contempt of court and possibly ordered to jail. So could the other people who were present for that ex parte meeting. Judge Glanville wants to know who leaked the information about the meeting in his chambers to Brian Steele. He held Brian Steele in contempt for not revealing his source and ordered him to jail for 20 days.
Right.
Steele was granted a supersedeas bond by the Georgia Supreme Court, so he doesn't have to go to jail right now since he's appealing Judge Glanville's ruling. I asked Caleb Bumpus whether she was the person who told Brian Steele about that ex parte meeting. When you say see what happens to me, talk to me a little bit about that. The judge has essentially publicly said that you may be the person who told Brian Steele about this. Brian Steele has refused to say who told him about what happened in chambers. So would you like to answer that question? What would you like to say? Did you tell Brian Steele about what happened in chambers?
Well, that's another question that, I can answer at a later date.
Oh,
but what I can't...
Kayla, come on now. 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 Attorney speak. Y'all know. All right, I'm gonna let it play.
Did you tell Brian Steele about what happened in Chambers?
She's pleading the fifth over here.
Well, that's another question that, I can answer at a later date. But what I can say is that it's extremely alarming that in the midst of that happening, I was sitting in the courtroom and all of a sudden, this blows up and I have a good idea of who did it. And I'm sure she violated attorney-client privilege doing it. And I'm just sitting there like, whoa. That was very shocking to me that would be made that assumption would be made in a matter of seconds.
So you've been ordered to show cause. Or you've been ordered to appear at this show cause hearing.
And the thing that she's talking about here before we get to this next question is she was only with Lil Woody or covering for Lil Woody just for one day. And then this whole thing went down. Judge Glanville picked her out. I guess he heard word that it might have been her. And now that's why she's being held in contempt. Was she saying, no, that's crazy. I was just there for one day. Somebody else was having a conversation. She doesn't want to say she's the one who leaked it, but she clearly had a conversation with somebody about what went on in that secret meeting.
That would be made that assumption will be made in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So you've been ordered to show cause. Or you've been ordered to appear at this show cause hearing. It's been now moved to July 3rd. Tell me what you've basically been ordered to do.
I've been ordered to come and show why I should not be held in contempt. I'm not too sure
that's crazy.
What the contempt is.
Talking.
Do you anticipate being put on the stand?
I'm not sure. As you guys know, I have hired counsel and, I'm going to do whatever my lawyers tell me to do.
How do you feel about how this trial has unfolded so far? Jury selection took 10 months. I feel like that's unheard of. And the trial could go through the end of the year. This is taking forever. So what are your feelings on how this trial is proceeding and the pace and just how long everything has been taking?
It's definitely, like you said, unheard of. It's something unprecedented. Every attorney that I've spoken to involved and not involved in the case has the same sentiment. It's just actually unbelievable that this has taken so long.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And I know I keep saying this. I feel so bad for those jurors. I served on the grand jury for 3 months. And actually, I haven't mentioned this. It's possible I could have been selected for this jury. Now, I don't know what all went on behind the scenes, but after I served my first 3 months on the grand jury, not long after I was done serving, I got a second letter saying that I was being summoned again. And this happens all the time, y'all, with these grand juries. People will have to do multiple times on the grand jury. I don't know if they just draw your name out of a hat or what, but I actually had to go in. I got the summons. I went in and thank God I wasn't selected because Judge Glanville was there the second time I went, as well as the first time I served on the grand jury. And man, I think the reason I've taken this so personally, because I was there when they were doing the selection process. I cannot imagine having to be on this jury and just being held back from your life. There's been several testimonies from people who have served on this type of grand jury or on a RICO case that have lost their jobs. They've lost their families because if they're the sole provider for their family, they've had to be in these court cases for months and years and extended periods of time. And it's really a tough situation to be in. So I feel so bad for these jurors, man, because they're not getting paid. Here in Fulton County, you get $25 a day. I was in a grand jury twice, sometimes 3 times a week for 3 months. I got paid $25 a day. And this was still while I was working a corporate job full time. So having to balance those long days and try and be present in the grand jury, it was tough, man. So I definitely feel for them.
The first case with a RICO and multiple defendants, I think about APS and BMF. All of those trials had multiple defendants, multiple attorneys, and none of them took this long or had this much controversy in the actual courtroom setting.
You know, every defense attorney I speak to, and I've actually spoken to retired judges, when I tell them how long it's taken in the pace, they're shocked. They can't believe it. And I'm talking judges from other states who've handled high profile cases, homicides, gang cases, things of that nature. They think it's stunning. Kayla, you've kind of become ensnared in this whole controversy with Brian Steele, the Lil Woody ex parte meeting that took place in chambers. Brian Steele basically said, to the judge, you should have told me about this and you didn't. It shouldn't even have happened. We should have been present. Do you believe Brian Steele should have been present for that meeting?
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe that Brian Steele is doing his job, and his job is to protect his client's rights and ensure that he has all the information necessary to defend his client. I cannot right now speak to that because, like I said, I'm under scrutiny right now, and the way this trial is going and the decisions that are being made, it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous because it's like anything goes.
Yeah, and this is kind of what Lil Woody's saying as well. So Judge Glanville his ego really needs to be put in check. We saw it checked a little bit when Brian Steele went to the Supreme Court and said, hey, this guy's trying to lock me up for the next 20 weeks, for the next 20 weekends, and I'm not having it. And now Judge Glanville, his tune is starting to change a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how things are going once we come back next week, because there's a lot of dominoes that are going to fall. You've got Weinstein that's going to most likely go ahead and file a new motion with the Court of Appeals, right? Or with the Superior Court, excuse me. Then you've got this hearing with Caleb. So it'll be interesting to watch what Glanville does and how things progress, because I'm sure he's starting to feel the pressure. He got a little bit of a break with the Supreme Court saying, y'all got to basically hit the reset button on this motion. But man, this is just the beginning, y'all. And we're not even halfway through this trial, which is crazy. So let me know what y'all think. Is Kayla, is she going to be held in contempt? Hopefully she has some good lawyers behind her. Was Brian Steele supposed to be there? Is she right? We don't know. Oh man, this whole thing is crazy.